I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Hi there folks, and welcome back to another review. I know you're wondering, Matt, didn't you review this film before? And I did, but if I haven't mentioned before, I wanted to take another look at 3 Dolph Lundgren films that I really want to give another review, because I think these are some underrated ones the guy's done. I'm a big fan of Dolph Lundgren, and since of course he was just in The Expendables 2, I wanted to give these 3 films. I've always loved these 3 films, but I feel they're very underrated. The 3 films are The Punisher, Showdown Low Tokyo, and Men of War. I've done reviews of pretty much all of Dolph Lundgren's films way back when on my older camera, and I re-reviewed I Come in Peace, also known as Dark Angel, which is my favorite. That'd be my #1 favorite Dolph Lundgren film, I Come in Peace. But I wanted to re-review these films because I think they're really underrated. And first off is The Punisher. People ask, I'm always sort of back and forth, what's my favorite Punisher film? Because I really like the Thomas Jane one. I'm not a fan of the Ray Stevenson one, but I'm not a fan of Ray Stevenson. I'm not a fan of the actor. I was not a fan of him as the Punisher. I just didn't like him. That's just my personal opinion. If I had to pick my favorite, though, depending on each day, I'll tell you one or the other. But as of right now, I'm going to say this is my favorite Punisher film. I really like Thomas Jane's version, but this is my favorite Punisher film. This is the one I grew up with. Maybe that helps too. But The Punisher, and this is of course the DVD from Artisan Entertainment, it was directed by Mark Goldblatt, which was definitely a big-time editor. But he did direct some films. He directed Dead Heat. That's a fun zombie cop movie with Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo. And I think these are the only films he directed, actually, which that is a shame. That definitely is a shame. It's the only film he directed. And that sucks, actually. That's because I think the guy, he's definitely a top-notch editor. He helped edit films like Terminator, Commando, Rambo 2, Predator 2, Terminator 2, Last Boy Scout. He helped Bad Boys 2, like a lot of stuff. And a very accomplished editor. And editing can really make or break an action movie as well, and he does a great job with the editing. I think he did a very good job in the directing as well. And this film didn't do anything, because basically this film was made by New World Pictures. And unfortunately what happened was they were going to release the film in theaters in around August of 1989. But unfortunately, New World Pictures, they ran out of money pretty much. They went the way of, and which is really sad, because they acquired Marvel Comics approval, thus why this guy could be called Frank Castle and such. But, let's see. Yeah. August 1989, trailers were created by New World promoting the film, and the film was shown at the Los Angeles Comic Book and Sci-Fi Convention. However, the film never received a theatrical release in the U.S. due to New World's financial difficulties. Instead, it was released direct-to-video in 1991, which is too bad, because I think this was still think this is a very fun movie. Right off the bat, I know people complain about this film, for low budget, but hey, it had a low budget. I think it used it. There's more action in this than most films today. But it seems like the main complaint is like, he doesn't have a skull. Well, you know what? I could draw a fucking skull, and there it is. There's a skull. Really? You don't hate the film because there's no skull? Really? Then what about X-Men? They don't wear the fucking costumes in the X-Men. I don't see Wolverine wearing the fucking mask and the burgundy or the yellow jumpsuit. Chris Nolan's Dark Knight films, they don't follow the Batman comics word for word. Because that's the thing, like, oh, it's not the exact origin of Frank Castle, and he doesn't have the skull. He has the skull on the knives. And Grant, I don't know why they didn't use the skull. I've heard different things. I heard somebody on the production thought it looked kind of weird. There was an idea, though, that at the end he would have like a flat jacket or something, and he would paint or spray paint a skull. I don't know what happened with that. I don't know if it was because Marvel Studios said, okay, you can use it, but you can only use some of it. So you can use his name and this and that, but you can't use this other stuff because we want to make a bigger budget and use the whole shebang on a bigger budget. Kind of like Fantastic Four, where it's like, well, that wasn't really Marvel, but they made that Roger Corman shitty flick just to keep the rights and never release it so that then they can make a bigger budget film version. So I don't know what's the one true reason why they didn't do it, but I'm not going to hate the film because there's no fucking skull. You know, at its heart, to me, this is a Punisher movie. Because it's a character named Frank Castle, who I think is well played by Dolph Lundgren, whose family is murdered in cold blood. He couldn't save them. He wants to punish the guilty, and that's his life now. He punches the guilty any way he can, and he does it in a shitload of ways. And I think the stuff they added was fine. Like, I'm fine with not having a skull. He's all in black. I like his outfit. I think his outfit works fine all in black. The leather and the motorcycle. I think this is a cool look for the Punisher. And his knives have the skull on there so they could put it on there. I like his, basically starts right off with, you know, there's this figure known as the Punisher that's killed a shitload of people. And you see him at the beginning taking out these mob guys. He gets one, falls to the floor to his death, hangs one guy, goes through like the ceiling, a vent, and stabs a guy in the chest. He's this figure, and yeah, I know it's weird that he's sitting there naked. I know it's sort of a weird image, but I thought it worked, especially with the dialogue. Like, you know, he says, I still talk to God sometimes. I ask him what I'm doing is right or wrong. I'm still waiting for an answer, and until I get one, I'll be waiting, watching. The guilty will be punished. And that's actually at the end of the movie, but he says something to that effect. Like he's talking to God. I liked it because it's like, okay, this guy's fucked up and crazy, and the Punisher is going to be that. I think Dolph Lundgren played it well. He played like a guy who's tired. He's been doing this for like 5 years now, and he's ready to fuck you up. He's tired. It's draining on him, but at the same time, he's ready to go. And it's a straightforward film. He finds out where the bad guys are at. He fucks them up left and right, whether he shoots this crossbow type thing right into a guy, uses it so he can slide down, shooting all these guys. Then he gets a shotgun. He gets handguns. He uses knives. He breaks people's necks. He does it like, it's like 50 ways, different ways to kill a person. That's what the Punisher does. I'm like, yes, that's the Punisher. That's why I wanted a Punisher movie. The guy to punish people. Now, why I like Thomas Jane's The Punisher, they have much more of a dramatic movie. Which, granted, they cut the stuff in this film, which I'll get to. But Thomas Jane, I think he did a great job acting-wise. He definitely get the, I think, the emotion. Especially when his family are killed. And it's not wall-to-wall action, but when it's done, I think it's nice. It's not perfect like I could do without carrying the fucking fire hydrant, but this film, he's kicking ass, taking names, gets to a plot with a really ballsy plot where the Yakuza kidnaps the kids of these mob boss guys and saying, you better join with us, or not even join, give us your shit, otherwise we're going to kill your kids. Pretty ballsy plot, in my opinion. I think that's a ballsy plot. And the two writers are Robert Mark Kamen, which this guy's familiar, because he helped write, he wrote The Karate Kid, he helped write The Fifth Element, The Transporter, and Taken. So he's helped write some good stuff. And also Boaz Yakin. This guy who helped write The Rookie, starring Clint Eastwood, which I like. From Dusk Till Dawn 2, which I'm a personal fan of. He directed, let's see. I think he directed Remember the Titans, which that was a big hit with Denzel Washington. So this guy's not too shabby of a guy either. Like I said, directed by Mark Goldblatt. I think he did a great job with it. And I think you have some great supporting cast. I love Louis Gossett Jr. in this. He plays Frank Castle's former partner, because in this origin, which they deleted the shit, and I guess there's a work print overseas, or a DVD overseas that shows this stuff, and I don't have it, unfortunately, so that fucking sucks. I know I saw it once online. Not sure if it's there anymore, but I wish I had that DVD, but I don't have it, unfortunately. I think there's like a 2-disc. One has the normal, one has that sort of work print version. And they show this. This scene, I always wonder, what the fuck is this scene? Because this scene is there in the movie. It's Dolph Lundgren and Louis Gossett Jr. in plainclothes and some woman who's actually the girl who becomes Louis Gossett Jr.'s partner. And it's like, where the fuck is this shit? Where's this scene? Then I see that work print footage. I'm like, that's where the scene is. Oh, shit. There was a whole opening scene where you got more of Dolph Lundgren being the family man. About him being a cop with his partner, Louis Gossett Jr. They're back and forth. Their relationship showing that they're good friends. Pretty much family with each other. And they're chasing this mob boss guy. And you have this hooker character who is actually an undercover cop, and she comes into the film later on. And her name is, let me see. I want to get her name. Nancy Everhard is her name. And she's been in some stuff. Yeah, she was in Deep Star 6. That's where I remember her from. Again, another film I liked. But I will say I like this more. And I always see it's like, you know, getting the bad guy, which is actually the guy they get is the first guy we see the Punisher kill. Well, not the first, but the main boss guy that we see the Punisher kill in the opening sequence. I believe that's the same guy, but again, I haven't seen that footage in a while. And then it builds up to the fact of, okay, the bad guy saw what Dolph Lundgren did, so they want to kill him. His family's killing this car bomb. And then it cuts to years later, 5 years later, and Punisher doing all this. I wonder if they actually put that in, then maybe people would be more lenient on this film, more kind on this film. But even what's there, I think it's still solid stuff. I mean, for an action movie, it's fun. It's entertaining. Louis Gossett Jr., he plays great as this guy who still believes that Frank Castle's still alive. He's been searching for him all this time. Gets help from this new partner. And Dolph Lundgren, Punisher, he's going to take a vacation. But then this guy, this sort of bum type guy, says, you know, you've been doing, pretty much he's been doing too good of a job, so the mob boss were weak enough for the Yakuza to take over. I really like the Lady Tanaka, the lead Yakuza lady, Kim Miyori. She did a really great job as the bad guy. Definitely a woman you love to hate. She did a very nice job. Oh, she had that small role in Metro with Eddie Murphy. Okay, I remember her. It was a small role, but I remember her. And the Punisher decides, you know, he's going to kick some ass. And he does. He kicks a lot of fucking ass. I mean, this is like amusement park place. You know, he's throwing grenades and, you know, shooting the shit out of ninjas and shit. I'm like, alright, the Punisher's shooting ninjas. I'm fine with that movie. He's throwing grenades, blowing the shit out of them. He's using guns. He's using, you know, martial arts. You know, he gets captured. You have a funny bit of dialogue where they ask who hired you, and he says, Batman. Of course, that was funny because Batman came out the same year. I think this film's going to come out after Batman, because this is going to come out in August. But unfortunately, it didn't happen because New World Pictures went down in flames financially. He gets out, fucks them up. Just the kids. Yeah, that nice vehicle. He's like, yeah, pretty much a bus. I was going to say school bus, but just pretty much a bus. And you have a nice chase sequence. Oh yeah, that scene way before that he just gets this gun and shoots the shit out of slot machines. Punisher fucking hates slot machines. Shooting the shit out of them. Shooting the shit out of them. Uses grenade launcher, blows the shit out of a couple guys. But he hates fucking slot machines, kills the shit out of them. Then more stuff happens. You have him being caught. And you have a great scene with him and Louis Gossett Jr. where Louis Gossett Jr. says, you know, I've been looking for 5 years. Why didn't you come to me? I think it's a really great acting scene. People will laugh, but I'm not taking him back. You have great lines of dialogue where, like, Louis Gossett Jr. says, you know, what the fuck do you call 125 murders in 5 years? Work in progress. I love that line, you know, work in progress. I mean, that's something the Punisher would say, and I've read Punisher comics. And 125 murders in 5 years, that says the Punisher's been a busy guy. And I like that bit. And he gets caught by the mob boss guys because they want to use him to get their... He gotten the rest of the kids out except one. The son of the main boss guy, Franco, played by this actor named Jeroen Krabbé. He was in Jumpin' Jack Flash, I remember him. Oh, he was the guy in The Fugitive who he found out was the bad guy. The main bad guy in The Fugitive. He's also been in... oh yeah, he was in Transporter 3. Been quite a few films, but I think most people remember him from either this film or The Fugitive. He did a really great job as Franco. And basically they got Frank Castle, the Punisher, so that Punisher can help him go into the Yakuza's place and get Franco's son back. Punisher isn't willing to do it, but they have Louis Gossett Jr., and he ultimately does, so it shows that Frank Castle still cares for his friend. I love when they leave and, like, Louis Gossett Jr., I love this scene where he's like, you know, he says he's got to pee. He's like, are you going to pull out for me? Like, you know. So they unhook it. And I think Louis Gossett Jr. says something like, is there an IQ test for this job? No. And beats the shit out of him. He's like, no, I didn't think so. And that guy comes, hey, I got the pizza. And Louis Gossett just beats the shit out of him, like, real quick. Steals a slice of his pizza and runs off. Louis Gossett Jr. is great in this. I know he would also be in Cover Up with Dolph Lundgren, which I'm not really a fan of, but I love, like, that'd be a great interview with Louis Gossett Jr. or Dolph Lundgren, or those two guys being together again. Like, have them talk about this film. I think it'd be fun to see that, but it'll never happen. And you have a great ending where the Punisher and Franco, they get in this elevator, opens the doors, there's like 50 fucking guys, and nails all of them. There's a guy coming, Punisher picks up a sword, jams it into him, shoots another guy. They're going in. Punisher takes a knife, slams it right through. It's like paper. I forget what kind of place that's called. Like paper walls. Slams it right in without looking. Guy falls over. Fights this girl who has like this stuff on her feet, on her shoes. And Punisher doesn't give a shit. Fights her, takes her, breaks her fucking neck. Gets some other guys. Lady Tanaka has Franco, and she has the kid and says, you better shoot yourself, I'm going to kill your kid. Punisher comes in with a fucking knife, boom, right in her, between her eyes. Then fights Franco and ultimately kills him. And I really love this scene too with the kid, where the kid's ready to kill him because, like, you know, you killed my dad, I'm ready to kill you. And the Punisher does a cool thing where, it's a very interesting scene where he gets on his knees and says, go ahead, do it. I guess there's an alternate ending where when he said that, he was much more like yelling, come on, do it, come on, do it. But here he says very coolly. I liked it either way. I mean, I liked it here as well. It's like, do it. Do it. I'm like, that's the Punisher right there. He doesn't give a shit if he lives or dies. He's like, you don't kill me, go ahead. The kid doesn't. He's like, you know, respects him. It's like, you know, you're a good boy. Be up to be a good man. Not be up, but you're a good boy. Grow up to be a good man. Because if not, I'll be waiting. I thought that was a nice way. And Louis Gossett Jr. is trying to look for his friend. And he's yelling, Frank, Frank. But he's disappeared. And you have Dolph Lundgren in the sewers again, saying that line about how he'll be there waiting. You know, the guilty will be punished. And yeah, great score by Dennis Dryth, which I have the soundtrack, which actually in the soundtrack, it has the music, but also has interviews with the composer and the director. So, and this guy, what else has he scored? His work often uncredited. Let me look at him on Internet Movie Database. I think this guy did a fantastic job on the score as well. He did... Purple People Eater? Really? I guess he worked on other films, but he was like additional stuff. Like, he was an uncredited additional orchestrator in Jurassic Park. He helped with additional music and composing The Shadow. He was an additional orchestrator, uncredited, for Braveheart. He was an orchestrator for The Rock. He didn't compose it, but he was an orchestrator for it, so that's weird. A lot of these are these he's uncredited for, which is strange. Composer, additional music for Howard the Duck. Just not the main composer, but I guess they need like extra stuff, so they got him. He definitely did a great job with this score. Sorry. Had a burp there, but it went in. But I think this has great lines of dialogue. There's another one where Franco says, there's a limit to revenge, you know. And the Punisher's like, well, I guess I just haven't reached mine yet. I just thought the Punisher just really very underrated action movie. I think it's very crapped on for very bullshit reasons, in my opinion. If you don't like the film, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you for it. But in my heart, this is The Punisher. I think at the end of the day, the bottom theme of The Punisher, of what a Punisher movie should be, is this. You got a guy whose family's murdered in cold blood, and he becomes a full-fledged vigilante, dressing in black, using all sorts of weapons to take out these people and get rid of crime and punish the guilty. That's the Punisher right there. He doesn't give a shit about dying. He's very efficient. What I like about Dolph Lundgren is that I think he plays it well. I'm sorry, in my opinion. Plus, he's a martial artist, so he did do well in the fight scenes. Like, he has a fight scenes with these two Yakuza guys. Really well choreographed. I think it's well done. Big body count. Great score. Solid supporting cast. I think Lady Tanaka is a good villain. I think Franco is an interesting villain, played by Jeroen Krabbé. I really like Louis Gossett Jr. in this. He's a very fun, wonderful actor. I think it's an entertaining action picture. It has lots of action. Yeah, they have low budget, but, you know, I think they use it better here than all the shitloads of other films that are direct-to-video, direct-to-DVD. And I'm just trying to picture why people hate this film, because the origin story was different. You think Batman Begins is exactly how it was in the Batman comic books? I don't think it was. I'm sure there are other Batman comics that had different origins than Batman Begins. I mean, I don't mind someone changing it as long as they do it the right way. Or they do it in an entertaining way or in a decent way. I think this was a decent way. You still have his family being murdered in cold blood. And I think if they had that opening where you saw a more human Frank Castle, because I remember that footage, Dolph Lundgren, he's more of a human character, you know, he's smiling, he's having fun with Louis Gossett Jr., he's with his kids. I think maybe if they had not cut that out, I don't know why it was cut out, I don't know if it was time or what, I think it would have helped. Other people may be like, oh, okay. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to hate the movie because it does no goddamn skull. I'm sorry. Fucking X-Men, Wolverine doesn't wear that fucking suit in any of the comics, folks. The Amazing Spider-Man, you think that's the actual costume? Not that I know of. Unless it's like that in the Ultimate comics, but not in the comics I read as a kid. That's not how Spider-Man looked. But people didn't well, people nowadays don't complain about that because it gets a 7.4 or so on IMDb. A lot of people love that film. And you think that origin is true to the books? Believe me. You know, people change stuff and other stuff and they don't complain, but here it's, he doesn't have the skull, he doesn't have the skull, he doesn't have the skull. Fuck the skull. I'm fine if he had the skull, but I'm not going to hate the movie because he doesn't have the skull. But if you have other reasons, you can. That's fine. I'm not going to judge you. But I think this is shit on for shitty reasons, in my opinion. Because at the basis, I think Dolph Lundgren plays the Punisher well, and there's tons of action. He's an efficient killer in a way, to call him. I think it's a ballsy plot dealing with kids being kidnapped by the Yakuza. I think that's a ballsy plot for an action movie. I think it's well edited. I think it's shot fine. I think they used the low budget the best they could. They used the budget where it counts, in my opinion. I think it goes at a fast pace. It's definitely rated R. Yeah, 92 minutes. So it's not that long at all. And, you know, he punches the guilty and he kicks some ass. You have some good lines of dialogue between him and Louis Gossett Jr. I think is a really nice scene between those two characters. And either way, I just don't really understand the hatred this film has gotten. I think, at its heart, it's a Punisher movie. Is the origin exactly the same, and does he have a skull? No, but at its basics, it's what the Punisher is. He's a guy who lost his family, and he doesn't give a shit anymore, except punishing the guilty, protecting the innocent, and that's what he does. And there's a lot of action in this movie. I dare say more action in this than even Warzone. Except Warzone has a lot more CGI blood. And I like Dolph Lundgren a lot more than Ray Stevenson. And you know what? He had a skull in that, and that film wasn't a hit either. So. But either way, I know these, a lot of people don't like the Punisher movies, any of them, but, you know, I really don't know what they want in a Punisher movie, because I think this works as a Punisher movie. I think Thomas Jane's Punisher works as the movie. It's like, I don't really understand what people want. But, hell, I know. They just say, oh, a good one. I'm like, what's your definition of a good one? I mean, I'm sorry. The fact that this gets a lower rating than Warzone, I highly disagree. Oh, but he looks like the Punisher. So he looks like it. You have a lookalike of, I don't know. You have a lookalike of the Three Stooges, but if they can't be funny worth a shit, doesn't make a damn difference. You can have a lookalike of James Woods, but if he can't act for shit, well, if he talks like this, then it's like, well, fuck him. But yeah, I just really enjoy this film. I think it's very entertaining. I think it's very underrated. Only just a trailer and production notes. I love to see special features on this. Lionsgate, I'm sure, owns this now. I don't understand why they don't release a special edition. Especially when Dolph Lundgren was in The Expendables 1 and 2. But they didn't do shit with it. I don't understand that. Interviews with Mark Goldblatt, with Dolph Lundgren, with Louis Gossett Jr. Have that word print version, at least in the deleted scenes section. Or have like they have overseas, which I wish I had. A second disc with, you know, the word print version. So people can see that opening that built up the character Frank Castle. I like to have that DVD, but I don't have it. I have this. But either way, Punisher's a fun movie. And I think it's a kick-ass action flick. And it's a shame it didn't get put into theaters because of the New World sort of. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care. And see you next time for Showdown in Little Tokyo.